Hello, friends. Welcome to Letterkenny Island Developers Group. So it's our 19th session. Today we are going to talk about admin certification preparation, and we'll deep dive into doing some question answer sessions. We'll solve some questions together and see how we can quickly answer them. What is the best practices to eliminate some answers there. I'm Nishant Singh Pawar. I'm the community group leader for the Letterkenny Developers Group, and I'm also an architect, developer, and consultant. You can reach out to me on Twitter at Nishant Force, and you can follow my blog nishantforce.com for all the updates and sessions which I post. I have 13 certifications, including the domain architect. I'm a trailhead ranger. I love music and play guitar for an hobby. If you are watching this on YouTube, please post your questions as comments and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So this is the quick agenda. So we'll talk something about the community, then we'll talk into the admin certification. We'll definitely see the overview syllabus for the people who are new joining today, and then we'll solve the practice test, and also we'll see some tips and resources. And in the end, we also have certification voucher for giveaway. Forward-looking statement. I would be not definitely talking any forward-looking things today. We'll be mostly focusing on question answers from the Trailhead practice tests. But still, this is just to remind you that if you are making any purchasing decisions, you should not make based on any comments which I make and only on the generally available features available by Salesforce. Okay, about the community. So today you are joining Letterkenny Island Developers Group. You can see all our sessions on bit.ly LKSF Devs and also join our chatter group, which is LKSF Chatter. There we'll be posting all the presentations, recording links and everything. And definitely we are also on social. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and show some love on YouTube by subscribing to our channels and getting all the updates on the recordings. Then starting with the Salesforce certification. So who is Salesforce certification? There's a quick video which talks about who is Salesforce certified administrator. I'll quickly play for it. It's just a 1 minute video.
What is a Salesforce Administrator? Salesforce admins go by many names. They are productivity powerhouses, CRM rock stars, and Salesforce superheroes. They are your trusted advisors on all things Salesforce and a vital bridge between business and technology. So what exactly do they do? Salesforce admins can work on their own or as part of a team. They work alongside management to bring innovation to life, streamline processes, and keep the bottom line moving forward. Admins work hard to fight inefficiency and champion productivity. They probe the depths of the Salesforce ecosystem. They learn all of Salesforce's newest features and make sure every employee is up to speed. Salesforce admins are part advisor, part artist. They create awesome tools on any device, like easy-to-use dashboards, intelligent workflows, and apps for any project. And most importantly, they are there whenever you need them to keep your users educated, your problems solved, and your projects moving forward. A Salesforce admin delivers creative solutions, making your users happier and your business smarter. So next time you ask, what does a Salesforce admin do? Maybe you should ask, what don't they do? Learn more at admin.salesforce.com.
So far we have already covered all these 4 topics in our previous videos. You can check those videos at bit.ly admin videos and you can see them. And definitely we'll be doing one more session on the last topic, which is covering the remainder of the admin preparation session, maybe soon next week or next month or in the next year. Okay, so before we go and try to see some questions, I want to bring your attention to a word which is very dangerous for Salesforce certification area, and it's dangerous for every trailblazer who aspire for certification and is giving those certification is dumps. They're also sometimes called brain dump or like a brain export or those kind of things. But one and all, everything is same. It's cheating. So irrespective of what is your intention, why you are looking for those dumps, those questions out from the examination, so those are basically real questions and real answers. um, in the certification exam and you are trying to get access or get hands to those resources, that is called dumps. And if you are trying to get it with any positive intention or whatever it is, it's a cheating, and you should say no to it and try to avoid it. Because it's like just like drugs, so it's like giving you short term benefits that you would get those questions and answers and you would be able to pass the exam very quickly, and you would get a increment in your current role, or you can get easily a job interview, you can crack something or maybe get a position. But this creates a long level or the large term problems for you, which is first is the knowledge gap. So once you start giving any certification with dumps, you would have a knowledge gap, because for that particular certification you would not then have that justice which you should have done in the studied part and attempted that exam. So there is a knowledge gap for that certification, and then when you try to give the second certification, for let's say after this admin certification you are going for advanced admin certification, so at that point you would feel that you are missing some knowledge, and you would try to look for more dumps for the next certification as well, and the things goes on. So try to avoid even in one and never. So so that it's not in your mind any point of time that you need them, so you should not have a need of that to go for certification. You should make up your mind in that way. And sometimes people would be saying, because they need to clear interview, there's a situation that you are on a need of a job or something and you need to get certified to go for it. So you take a plunge and take a dumps and get certified, but that would create more problems, that you would even able to crack the interview, then you can not keep up to the duties which you need to perform there, because there would be some knowledge gap. You would skill your skill would be not that up to the level which are required to perform the duties. So that would hamper your performance while working on that role which you have just achieved by cracking a certification items. So try to not do that. And uh, very huge impact is that Salesforce, if finds out that you are using any dumps or incorrect means for certification, if you are doing any cheating, it can take you out from the Salesforce certification program, which is a long-term loss to your Salesforce career if you are studying now, or even if you are, let's say, five certified. Now, for the sixth certification, if you try to do this and Salesforce finds out, then if it will take out, remove all the certification which you have already achieved, and you would be not able to attempt for any certification in future. So that's a huge loss for your overall Salesforce career. And last but not least, which is very big one, that you are hurting the value of certification. So you get the certification, but as long as people start using these dumps, the value of the certification goes down. That what's the importance of the achieving that certification goes in vain. So it's like kind of hurting every trailblazer. So it's like if you are using dumps, you are hurting the certification which I have achieved myself, because then it creates the value of that certification goes down, because anybody and everybody is trying to crack it with those dumps. So try to report if you find any such instance where somebody is trying to sell dumps or give you questions even for free. Don't take it. Try to report that to Salesforce, and for that I have given a link. So this link is the link for reporting any credentials or any violation which you find out. So you just need to fill out a form and send it to the Salesforce, that these are the link or this is the website which is selling anything, even super badges. Super badges are also a credentials, just like Salesforce certification. So if somebody is giving you a solution for a super badge, uh, completely, some people are helping on the Trailblazer community, that's fine. If they're helping you to uh, clear the super badge, that's fine. But if somebody is giving you a straight away solution for super badge, those are also considered as a violation for certification program. And if you want to read more about the certification program policies, I have also given a information link on the Trailhead help. You can go through that. Okay. Moving next, I'll talk about what are the various ways to do legitimate practice tests. So, because we know that we want to see a sample questions, we want to understand how the exam would come up with different questions, how the questions are framed basically, and then I can attempt them. So, for that, there are some right choices which you can make. First one I would recommend is Trailhead practice test. So, on the Trailhead itself, Salesforce provides a practice test now. It was not there for a while, but Till that time, there were Focus on Force and Salesforce Pen. These are two MVPs, trailblazers, who provide some sample questions, randomly formed questions, which try to assess your knowledge on these various topics which are part of the Salesforce admin certification. And you have the practice test as well. And additionally, we also have a mock test, which is almost like a real exam. You can give for just $20, and instead of taking dumps for $20, try to give that money to web assessor mock test and take that exam. It would give you the real feel for the complete exam with installing all the Sanitel and everything, and you would get the real exam feel as well while you are giving this mock test. But the best and easiest approach is Trailhead Practice Test. So I would recommend everyone, before giving the exam, you go for this test. It will also give you an understanding how well you are prepared. So if you give this practice test, it will give you result and you would understand how ready you are. So today we're going to take this one practice test on Trailhead and go through it and see how it goes. So I did this exam just 3 days or 4 days back. I gave the whole exam and I recorded all my answers, and that's what I'm gonna talk today. So I'll be presenting the whole exam which I did. I've taken screenshots from that exam, and I'll be sharing what answers I got and how they were. So I selected the untimed mode. So you have two options to select. You can either go for timed mode, where you have a fixed 30 minutes time to do those 30 questions. So it's half the number of questions. It's not exactly all the 60 questions, but you would get a feel of all the different type of question areas. Okay, so before I go to all the questions, I would be first covering that I gave this exam, and I couldn't get all the 100 right, so all the 30 questions right. I was only able to get 26. So simply, nobody's perfect. You don't need to go for everything as a right answers. You can't get everything right. You can't learn everything to the edge. Even if you know, sometimes you would do a mistake while giving the exam. You would overthink, and it can be wrong. So you don't need to go for perfection. Just try to get focus on this percent. So how much percent you are able to get. So if you are able to get anything above 80-85%, I think we are good, because what we need for the exam is 65%. So if in the mock test, all these practice tests, if you are able to get anything above 80%, which is good, because some 10-15%, I can say, there would be, when you are giving the real exam, there would be exam pressure as well, which can bring this number a little bit down. But if you are above 80 in the practice test, you can definitely say you are good prepared for going and attempting this exam. Right. So what we should, whenever we do this exam, focus on these things. So how many questions we are getting right, and which area we are getting wrong answers. So we can see I got four incorrect answers, and out of which two were from the Salesforce fundamentals and two were from the service and support application. So these are the areas for improvement, which I should focus more on, and then try to revise them, or see why I got those answer wrong. Now, when we give the real exam, it doesn't gives you output like this. So you don't have ability to see how many questions you got right in one section. It just give you these percentage. Sometimes these percentage are misleading, because there are different weightage for different exam bullet point. So try to find out this numbers using a score calculator. So there is a score calculator available online uh, on Focus on Force, which I find really helpful if you want to try to evaluate. If I would recommend clears in the first attempt, but if somebody doesn't and want to see how he performed in the certification, so this is a tool. It's just a straightforward tool build, which is really helpful in case if you are trying to find out how did you perform. So if you enter this, it will tell you out of 12 questions how much you got right and how much were wrong. So this will help you, that you need to really focus on this area, because this is more percentage, the weightage of this area is more, and so on. So if you calculate this, you can see now uh, this is the least scoring area in which you scored least, and uh, where you need more work to be done is configuration setup, service support application. So these are the where you have room for improvement. This is your weakest area, and it will also outline each and every number of questions which you did. So this is very helpful, so that it is telling me how many questions I got right. So I'll just generalize or categorize various type of questions we get in exam, and various answering techniques. So first type of questions are generally scenario based. So these are the most number of questions which will be scenario based. So you need to find a solution um, given to a scenario which is more optimized and based on the declarative tools. So obviously that scenario would be looking for some declarative tools on the platform to be used for a solution there. Then some scenarios, some questions which are directly knowledge based. So you should know what is the right tool, or what is the correct way to use a tool in Salesforce, and how you configure them, what are the various settings for that particular tool, what are the limits for a tool, and those kind of things. So this is kind of a knowledge base. You should know some key terms of various tools which are there in Salesforce. So to answer these two different type of questions, you have very first and important technique is elimination. So wherever there is a, chance to eliminate the incorrect answers, you go for that. Try to eliminate those incorrect answers, and then try to find the optimized or the right answer which is there. And sometimes this correct matching is also very helpful, that you would see some words. Definitely always there would be words or keywords in the question with which you can also match a answer which will have those words. So it's kind of a match the columns kind of thing. So you can directly match your question with the answer, and you get the right answer. That's it, and there. So you don't need to look for a lot more, and then you can directly. So mostly this will happen for the knowledge based questions. You would have a correct match, and for the scenario based you would have elimination, and then you would have a best option to be choose. So you have multiple right answers there, but you need to choose the answer which is very appropriate or very optimized solution. So for scenario based you try to apply these two techniques, and for a knowledge base you directly try to apply a correct match kind of technique. Okay, so let's begin with question number one. So first question what we have is, universal container is using a custom object with the product development team, and product development team, executive, and system admin. So there are three agents or three personas we are talking about. Product development, executive, and system administrator should be users who would have access to these records. Now, what is the access they need? Product development needs read write, and executive should only have the view. So this is the security model related question. Now we try to find out the keywords in this question. So first keyword is, only these users should have access. Nobody else should have any access. And then we also find the keywords that product development persona should have read write, and the executive should have view access. So now we easily capture what is required from this question, and we need to find a correct design. So what is the correct design for this? And for this to answer this, what I did was I quickly looked into the answers. So I can see first option always is to set the OWD to either private or public read write. So you can set OWD to private or public read write, and then you have even open up the permissions. Like in this private model you are giving default teams for the permissions. In this you are giving profiles for the permission, and in this you are doing using sharing rule, and in the last one you are also using the profile by using the um, cred permission. So basically these are the cred control on the profile. This one is for sharing rule control, and uh, this is a private, right? So right. So as you said, so we try to always keep the OWT to restrictive. So that thing came into my mind. I just quickly eliminated these two answers. I thought let's keep the OWT private and then open up the access. So now to open up the access, there were two options in front of me. One was using the default team, and then there was modify also. I didn't read in detail all this, and just I quickly went with the private, and then I selected this answer, and it turned out this answer was wrong. So it happens. So you cannot be always right. So this went out wrong. Now I try to understand why this answer went wrong. So I'll try to explain you from my point of view why this answer also went as wrong. So some things which we should take a learning from him from here from me is that we should not rush. So I quickly concluded on the OWD as the conclusive point, that it should be private, and let's put it restrictive, and then we would open up the access. But sometimes if we read the all the details of the answer. You would see even with this public read write, the restriction are being implemented with the cred access. So this is the right answer, because here we are giving public read write as OWD, but still the product development team has only read, create, edit, and the executive only have the read only permission. So on the cred level, we are doing the restriction and not here. But this could also be a solution, right? This could also be a right answer, because this would also do the same thing, right? So this would be product development profile, and modify all with giving the read edit, and the view all will give the read access. Now let's see uh, what was the problem. So the problem here is, here we can see the additional permission which it is giving is create. So here we are extra, what we are giving is create, which is not ask in question. So this something stands out. But the problem with modify all here is that you are giving even the delete permissions. So modify all is very superior permissions, which can be challenging. Like, you should not give always modify all permission. Modify all is very superior permission, which should be tried to restrict it. So if there was a way to do this uh, with some way where we could avoid using modify all, this is high level permission, so which we should not be able to give, which we should not be able to control if we give it. So the delete permission cannot be then taken off, whereas because we are giving the edit permission, I think create is still fine. But if this was profile read and edit only, not create, this would be the absolutely right answer. But I just see one problem in this answer is the create. But still, if we see for the best or optimized solution, yes, this would be more optimized in that way, because we are not giving modify all in that. Modify all includes read write, but it also include delete. So modify gives read write plus delete as well, so which we don't want to give. So don't assume any details. So like, I quickly assumed that we should always pick private OWD. I didn't read all the details, all the part of the answer. So you should read all the details, like each and every line. And I think from the all the questions, there would be only two or three questions which would be this big, like this big questions. There won't be any more than two or three questions which will be this big. So give your time. Don't rush on these questions. If you feel like you are not in a mood in the beginning to attempt these kind of big questions, you want to first get a speed of some giving some good answers in the beginning, flag it and leave it for later, and give some answers where you which boosts your confidence, and you can come back and look into this question later. But don't quickly just for giving an answer give the answer for such kind of big questions. Generally these big questions would be very few, two or three I would say, and try to give them ample time, like give them 1 or 2 minutes. Even if you want to more than 2 minutes, you can give, you have ample of time in the exam. So don't rush. So that's the one learning we can take from here. Okay, moving to next question. uh, which set of Salesforce record is exported by choosing export all option instead of export? So now we are trying to look for difference between export all and export button in the data load. So this is completely uh, uh, trying to find out what this export all means, and you just need to match with the right option, right? So export all, what does it do? If you know it, you can attempt it. It's again like straightforward. So now export all ties with recycle bin data. So whenever export all is mentioned, it means you try to extract the data also from the recycle bin. Otherwise normal export will only retrieve the data which is in the database, not in the recycle bin. So straightly you can select the D as an answer and go for it. So simple as that. Coming to next question, universal container has inconsistent data in its 20,000 existing accounts, and to convert all this, uh, you need to convert all the standard country ISO fields. So we need to update all the standard country fields on the ISO code. So we need to update the address related data. Now, uh, again, this is we need to know what is the features available in Salesforce for doing the address updates. So for address updates, what we have in Salesforce is mass address update. So mass address update is a feature available in Salesforce for doing all these things. Report exports, again, just exports the data. Data.com clean gives you more insights about the company, like their phone numbers, email addresses, people working on it, all those things. And then inline editing is just a tool to edit the data on the UI, those kind of things. So but this is the specific tool for managing the address. So you go for it. Want to read more? I have just given some links here as well on the PPT. You can just click them and read more. Okay. Next question. UTSA major is using workflow field update, right? So workflow field update is a keyword here. Which two action can UMS complete with this feature? So we need to use two options. Out of four, you need to choose two. So any anywhere where there are these multi-select options come, you should go for elimination. Elimination is the easier way to at least remove one or two answers, and then you would be left out by choosing uh, selecting from only the remaining one. So it would be easier for you to choose those two options. So if I eliminate out of these four at least one, I would be easily able to get my right answers, right? So first one, choose a formula field for field update. Formula fields are always calculated on fly. You cannot have or update those formula fields. So this is completely eliminated. So this is not a right answer, right? So you can eliminate this formula field from there. Now update the value of a field on a child object. So workflow rules, updating child object. Again, child object cannot be done from a workflow rule. That's something we can only do with process builder. So this also gets eliminated. So now we are left with only two options. So this way, if you go for elimination approach, whenever you get questions like multiple selects, it's always easier to get to the right answers. You can also, once you have that, once you reach that kind of conclusion, sometime you would be able to eliminate only one, and then you need to choose from three to. That is more easier than choosing two from four. So but we were able to eliminate two straight away, then we can pick the last two. But we can also read back those things. So apply a specific value to field. That's what a field update means, right? You can update any field value. Then modify a record type. Record type is also a field value stored on the object. So you can update the record type. Record type is just a uh, ID of the record type stored on the record. So every record has a ID of the record type stored on it, right? So you can change that ID of the record type on that record, then it changes the record type. So anytime you want to update the record type of a record, you can do a field update as well. So it's always a standard field with the API name record type ID, and you can update it. So once you update it, it will update the record type. And this is very helpful when we do those kind of scenario when you want to make the record as read only. So what we do, we create two record types. One is a normal record type, one is a record type which is read only record type with page layout having all the fields only in the view mode. They are not in the edit mode. So you can just change the record type to the view only record type, read only record type, and then the user who tried to see that record will not be able to edit on the UI. So it's very helpful for those kind of business scenarios where we implement. Okay. Now a fifth question: what should a sales rep create in all day event in Salesforce? So the keyword here is all day event. So we need to know how to create all day event in Salesforce. So this is also kind of a correct matching. You should know how to do this in Salesforce. The events are standard out of the box feature. So what you can do, you can, let's go through them all the answers. Use a task for an all day event because there is no time fields needed. Tasks are totally different thing. They are not events, and you can't repurpose them. Basically, that's not a best practice. Then ask the system admin to check all day events in the activity settings. No, this is also not true because all day events are available out of the box for every event, and it's scheduled for times within start to end day. So instead of, yeah, this can be a option. You can do this way that you can select time from the beginning to the end, so it will become kind of all day event. But you don't need to do this because there is a checkbox called all day event on the event which you can select, and that will make it right answer. So you can do, if you know this is something knowledge, so you would know that when you would have gone into the org and you would seen it, you check a checkbox and it makes it all day event. So that's straightforward. Okay. Sixth question. Universal container has complex sales process with multiple record types, each shared with all the profiles. Some user complain about the record type selection creating new opportunities. Which two actions should system administrator take to allow these bypass choosing a record type? So now, what are the keywords we can see? Uh, we are having a record type selection screen on the uh, for the users, and we want to bypass them. So we don't want users to choose the record type, and it should be automatically selected, or it's easier for them if it is pre-filled or something like that. They don't need to select it. That's it. So now we try to see how we can do it. So basically, this is something if you would have done or created record types in the org, you would have seen it how that screen comes up. So if you can picture that in your mind, so this is something helps when you can picture it. So now to find out, we need to do the bypassing. Now, if I say first option, remove record types from the user profile, right? So yes, we can remove the users from the record types profile. So then they would not see the ones which are not assigned to him. So on the profiles, the record types which you assign, they can select only those, right? So uh, we can do that. So what we can do is we can remove the record types from the user's profile. So this is right answer, because here we can remove it from the record type and then they would not see. So this is kind of a full bypass. So now the user would not have access to those record types which are not assigned to him in the profile. So eventually, if on a profile you only give one record type, you don't see the record type screen. That's again, you would know from the hands-on experience. If you have done this, you would know that when only one profile is assigned to one record type is assigned to a profile, when the user try to create a record, he would not see the record type selection, and by default it will uh, select, or it will choose the record type which is for that particular profile. So this is a very easy and mostly used type of solution when we do this kind of solution in Salesforce. Then this is uh, asking for two options, so we need to also give another option here. So let's see what are the other options which we have. So remove the record type from user sales process. Sales process are mostly to control the pick list values. So you use sales process to control the pick list values um, for a record type, and what are the different stages for a record type. So that's the help which sales process gives. So it's not for a record type selection, definitely no. Then remove the record type field from user's page layout. So again, removing from page layout, uh, we are not going to that layout level at yet. We are talking about the record type selection screen which comes when you click the new button. So as soon as you click the new button, you see a screen which gives you 3 4 record types which are available for that object. So these are the 5 record types and you need to pick one. So we are till at that level only, we are not at the page layout level. So this is kind of a no answer, which we are not going to the page level yet. And then last one is to default record type in my settings. So every user can select a default record type. So now if we would have not done the solution number one, let's say there are 5 record types which are assigned to a profile. When user clicks new button on the screen, he would see 5 record types. Now, if the user goes and select his own default record type for this object, what will happen when the new screen comes? Automatically, the one which he sets as default would be selected. So there would be a radio buttons, and the radio button would be selected to the value which you have selected as default. So this is kind of a also right answer, because it will not completely bypass, but it would bypass the selection part procedure. So it would be just like pre-selection, right? So this would be pre-selection that you would be there. So it's not bypassing completely, but somewhere it is not asking them to select. So kind of they don't need to select it. So it's not completely bypass, but the selection procedure is bypass, that it is already pre-selected. So they don't need to select it. So that's why these two are the right answer for this uh, question. This question is also very tricky, but this comes with only hands-on experience. If you have done it, you would know how the record type screen selection screen appears and how it can be controlled. So this is something you can, if you want, you can go do some Trailhead and see creating a record type and try to do this, and you would learn more about it. Okay. um, Next one is a seventh question. So the support group at ursa major has following requirements. Agent needs to capture different information for product support and inquiry cases. So you can see product support and inquiry cases are the two different types of cases, and then there is a life cycle which is saying about different types of options available, and then which one to choose and when. So they're saying that there would be some less steps for this one and more steps for this one and so on, and which 3 features should administrator use to meet this requirement. So now you see there are various tool set available, and you need to choose 3 of it. So out of 5 you need to choose 3, but this is overall you should understand how to design these kind of solution, these kind of approaches, how to tackle them, right? So first thing we see is we need to give them different information. So both the product support and inquiry, these two have different informations to be captured. So different information means different fields which need to be captured. So we can say different fields are required. So if we can see anything which is related to fields and different fields assigned to particular record type, right? So that can be controlled with page layout. So page layout are something which can be multiple page layouts, and you can assign one page layout to one record type. So what will happen whenever user goes to that type of record type, he will see those information only, and when he goes for inquiry case he would see that different questions. So now second point is fewer steps. So in the inquiry cases there are less number of steps than the product support maybe takes longer time, and inquiry is like a quick one, so it can be 3 or 4 stages to mark it complete, so you have less stages. So whenever we talk about stages, that is the uh, business processes. So stages are always business processes or the pick list drop down values. So for case, this is the support process. Support process is the business process to be used for driving the pick list value, the case status pick list value. So support process will be used to determine the steps. Now we selected both the things and we are overall good with the answer, but it is asking for three options. So if this question was asking two options, we would choose these two. Now it is asking for three options, so we need to choose one more here, which would make this overall correct. So what we need is record types, and this is directly from the question itself, right? Because it's asking about two product support and inquiry cases, so you need to create two record types also, right? Let's assume that when the question is saying the need to capture for product support and inquiry cases, that they would be definitely creating two record types, and then for those two record types you would have page layouts and support process created and assigned to it. But because this question is asking for three options, we need to also give the tool that is record type. So you create record type which is product support and inquiry, and then for those two different type of record types you have different page layouts and different support process. So overall you answer this question, but again if this question would have come with only two options, you would not select record type. Record type is the right answer, but you would not select it because this is in the question itself. We see that these are the two record types. You can't select the answer from the question itself if it was asking for two options. So because it's asking for three options, I have selected record type as well. And overall, this makes a whole solution for this problem. Okay. So always try to make the solution as a whole with those options. So whenever you have the 3 or 4 options, 3 options mostly, generally there are 2 or 3, you should choose the options in such a way that it makes a complete solution in itself. Okay. Eighth question. Universal container has a time-based workflow rule, so that sends up a follow-up email to the customer after 1 day. After 2 day a case is closed. Now system admin wants to verify that workflow rule functions correctly, so we need to verify a time-based workflow rule. So what's the tool set, or how can we monitor these pending workflow actions which are going out? So we need to a time-based workflow and we need to monitor them. So we should know what is the tool available to do this monitoring. So that's again straightforward, correct match. You should know how to do this. So what we have is time-based workflow queues. So these are the time-based workflow queues which are there to do the find the actions which are sitting in queue and would be delivered at a future given point in time, because they would not go immediately. So you need to go in the queue and see if the action is queued to go after 2 days or not. Okay, so this is again state match. Question number 9. System administrator enable case feed actions and feed items in the support setting with the appropriate profile permission enabled. What change user will see? Administrator enable case feed action. So now we need to know when we enable the case feed actions, what users will see the change. So you're just basically enabling case feed actions in the settings, and now you need to know what will happen in that particular scenario. So now this again is kind of tricky. You might not know all the things. Maybe then what you can try is basically you should know. If you know, you can directly do a correct matching. But if you want, you can do some elimination as well, and then do the matching. So now let's read through. Case feed will no longer be hidden on the standard page layouts. So again, hidden, I don't know hidden why it's asking for hidden. Let's see second. So all case button will be converted to actions in case feed, so automatic conversion. So never action will be automatically converted. You need to create new actions. So actions are different than buttons. Buttons and actions are totally two separate entities in Salesforce, which can be driven or created. So we can eliminate this definitely now. Case will use feed layouts rather than standard page layout, something related to feed layouts and feed. So makes some sense, but yeah, let's leave it for now. Um, all case fields will be added to chatter feed tracking. Again, this is no, because feed tracking is something which you enable field by field. So when you enable feed tracking, so it's again, it requires feed action, that is right. But for feed tracking, you need to enable it, and then you need to select the fields which are enabled. So when you select some fields, let's say status, stage, descriptions, subject, so when you enable those specific fields, only those fields goes into the tracking, not all the fields will be added automatically. So definitely all fields will never be added to the feed tracking. So we can kind of eliminate two here. Now we need to just focus on A and see which one makes more sense. So this is again, now this comes again knowledge. So you should know what generally happens when this happens. If you would be knowing this by default, you would have answered it without doing the elimination. But again, this makes little bit a vague answer that things will get or no longer be hidden, because anyway things not get hidden. There are different type of layouts which gets created. So whenever we make feed actions, there would be new layouts gets created based on the standard layouts you have, which are called feed layouts. So these feed layouts gets set up in the system, and you can use those feed layouts instead of the page layout. So whenever somebody goes to um, a page, a record page in Salesforce, when the feed actions are enabled, they would be redirect to feed layouts and not to the standard page layout. So this is the right answer you would be selecting and choosing. So again, when you are in such a situation where there are tricky questions, try to eliminate some, and then point down on the most right answer, or which you feel close to the right answer sometimes. So this will help you go close to the right answer and remove the probability of choosing the wrong answer straightforward. Okay. Question number 10. Recently, one of the Ursa Major Solar's competitor lost critical data after a powerful hurricane due to multiple power outage. Now, UMS need to ensure that Salesforce data is backed up and protected for such events. Which two statements are correct? So now we are talking about the data loss. So there was a critical data loss, and we want to see how the data can be backed up. And this data loss for a competitor. Say Ursa Major doesn't had that loss already. Now they need a strategy to keep it secure, right? So they want a strategy to keep it secure. So again, this is asking for two options, so we can try to eliminate some incorrect answer and then go for the right answer. So let's read through. So you can download a app from App Exchange. Yeah, there are some apps from the App Exchange for backup. Let's see that. Then you can use weekly or monthly backup service, which is provided by Zip File. Yes, Salesforce provides some backup services, which is called Data Export Wizard, and you can use it to export the data. Then third option, UMS should contact Salesforce support for a free backup. Free backup? No. Free backup, nobody would provide a free backup. It's very costly thing to store data. Even if you are using any data storage services, they all charge for that. So nobody provides a free data, right? Then UMS can use Salesforce daily backup service, which is provided by Zipfile. Now this comes to a point where we are trying to see uh, this is giving daily backup service, and this question is this option is saying weekly or monthly backup service. So now if you know which one Salesforce provides out of the box, you would know that daily backup service is something Salesforce doesn't provide, because it only go up to maximum weekly. So you can have maximum weekly and not daily backup. So this is wrong answer, and then you are left with weekly backup service. Now this is the right answer, from your knowledge. And then because you need to choose two options, you can definitely always go and select App Exchange also, because there are, yes, definitely some App Exchange providers which can give you some um, tools which to do the backup in their system and then upload back in Salesforce. So we got the two answers right. So this is a way you can eliminate some wrong answers and easily get the right answer sometimes. Okay. Next question. System administrator created a workflow rule that sends email alerts when case with high priority is created. A new support engineer who works remotely at Universal Container complains about not receiving the email alerts. So now somebody is not receiving the email. You have created a workflow rule alert, but somebody is not receiving. You have workflow rule and somebody is not receiving. So not receiving is the keyword which we are trying to solve for, and that is only for one or a new support engineer who joined, right? So all the other users are receiving the email alert. So this is also very important point in this question, not to be missed. So if we just straight away go by not receiving and try to answer this, we will be ending up with incorrect answers. So this is very important part in this question which we should not miss. Even while I was reading the question, I didn't read this line, but this is very important that all the other users can receive these email alerts. So now we try to do this troubleshooting and try to do some elimination and see if we can get to the right answer in this one. So check if the workflow evaluation criteria is correct. So other people are receiving email, it means the criteria and those things are right. That's why other people are getting the email. So this is wrong. If this was wrong, nobody would have received the email. Next question. Next option. Check the correct email template is used. So template is for the data. What you get in the email is driven by the email template. So if there is an incorrect email template, you would get incorrect data, but it can't stop the email for going. So that's also incorrect. Now check if the workflow rule is active. Workflow rule is active. If it is not active, nobody would get the email. All the other users are getting email. So I can eliminate this as well. So you see, with this elimination technique itself, I was able to eliminate all the wrong answers, and I reach at the last point, which is user's email address. So yeah, if the user's email address is incorrect, definitely that particular user will not get email. Others can get the email. So very simple. Okay. Next question. Universal Container wants to allow potential customers to submit cases for technical inquiry. So cases for technical inquiry. So these are different type of cases. That's how we are coming to. They do not have resources to set up a call center and need to make support available through another means. So now what the question is asking for support which is provided without a call center. So now they need to handle cases or the inquiries basically without setting up a call center. They don't want to talk to the end customers and provide the support. So this is again correct design. You need to find the right solution which can achieve these kind of things. So what are the different tools they're saying? So say implement a partner lightning community with knowledge. So knowledge is something which gives you solutions. So knowledge is something where you can go look for existing questions and answers. It will not allow them to submit the case. What we want is system, in our CRM system, we get a case created for that particular user. So now we need to see how we can create case in Salesforce. So knowledge will not create case. Then adding a link for auto response rules for solution. So auto response is something when case is created, we sent an email saying we have received your email, we have received your case and we are working on it. So that is something auto response. So we are not talking about auto response. Also we need the first point where the case is created. Then we see web to case HTML code, right? So web to case is an standard automation to create case. You fill a form on the website and the case gets created. Then you have um, link to specify routing address to email to case. So you send an email to a particular email address and case gets created. So these are the two. Web to case and email to case are the keywords which are standard automation which can be used to create case in Salesforce. So these are the various non-agent channel where you can get cases created in the Salesforce system without without uh, without doing anything. Like you don't need to manually go and create the case. Otherwise the agent channel is basically somebody calls on a call center and tell that this is the problem I'm facing, and then agent on behalf of that customer creates a case in our system. They don't want to set up that call center, they want automatic cases creation. So these are the non-agent channels which can be used for creating of the case. Okay, moving next. Universal Container wants the sales team to access information about closed won opportunities with a common competitor for all pending big deal alerts, big deals. Uh, which feature should the administrator implement? So again, in my mind, somewhere the big deal alert was sitting and I just spoke it, but it is not in the question. So we are just want to know the information of the big deals, which are the higher amount values and those things, but we are not looking for any alerts here. So again, we need to know the closed opportunities and also for the competitors. So we should know these are the common competitors, and for them we are looking for win type of opportunity. So these are the criterias what we are looking for a existing competitor. If we have already win opportunities, try to replicate it and get it through. So try to eliminate something. So again, the keyword which I spoke, this is just big deals is for amount. It's not for the big deal alerts. Big deal alerts are always for sending emails to the agent or the sales people who are working if the opportunity goes beyond a value. So if it goes beyond a value and beyond the stage, you send an email notification that this is a very good opportunity to work on. Those kind of alerts, email alerts, are big deal alerts. So we are not looking for that kind of thing, right? Now we can see is what we need is competitors and the win opportunities. So here you can see there are combination of two words always. So big deal alert, sales team, competitor, similar opportunity, sales team, close won opportunities, commonalities, and won information. So these are some words. If you know any of these word is a tool available in Salesforce. So if these kind of settings, tools, or I would say any setting in the setup menu which is uh, available for selection, right? So competitor is something available in Salesforce. You can define competitors. With this, you can set up various picklist values for competitors. So you can define that these 10 companies are my competitors in the competitor, and that would appear as a drop down in the system, right? So competitors can be used to define that pick list value. So this makes a right answer, because anywhere else you don't see creation of competitor, right? So straight away we can find out that this will help us create competitors. And then I will come to the other options also, other basically the other points. So with competitors, what we are saying, similar opportunities. So similar opportunities is also a tool available in Salesforce. So what it does, when you enable similar opportunities, it will create a related list of opportunities under a opportunity. So if an opportunity has some criteria on the record, like it has amount greater than 5,000 and stage XYZ, then the similar opportunity will try to bring all the other opportunities which are having same kind of amount and same kind of maybe other field. So what we can use is we can see same kind of competitor and same kind of amount. So big deals, so the amount is higher than this, and competitor is this. So it can list down all the existing opportunities in the similar opportunity related list, and you can also see the competitors. So for that you need to define them in the competitor section. Then the other options, sales teams is a correct setting, big deal alerts is a correct setting, closed won opportunity is nothing, it's just a term. So when the opportunities win, it is called closed win opportunity. So there is no settings or something like this. And then there is nothing called commonalities also in Salesforce which you can configure or set up. And there is one information is just like it's a win or loss, that's a stage value. So you can define every stage if it is a win type of stage or it's a loss type of stage. So that is just a extra setting in the pick list that you can define if it is what is the probability of that stage, and if it is a win kind of, closed win kind of, or closed loss type of opportunity. So that's just in the setup, again very specific to the pick list value. So the right option what we have is competitors and the similar opportunities. So similar opportunity will bring the related list of the similar opportunities, and competitor would be helpful to define the competitors available for your company. Okay, right. Moving to next, administrators are some major needs to provide information for total Salesforce license. Okay, and use license and the remaining license. So we need to determine how can we find these things. So these are the keywords, licenses. So we need to find out where can we find these information. Right. So this is the correct match you need to do. So the correct match is company information, where you can find all these details. You can also find the information about the uh, currency, preferences, languages, your org ID. All those information are available in the company information. So again, straightforward. Next question. Salesforce user at Universal Container complains that global search returns too many records. So global search is returning too many records, and system admin should do something to manage the search results. So now what the system admin need to configure is need to design something in a way that now you get limited results. You don't get so many results. So you need to control the results in a way that it doesn't returns a lot of responses back to you. So if we quickly run through our eyes and we see the option number C has reduced the number of records displayed for each object. So this is something which is already inclining towards reducing the number of records. And can we do that? Yes. So in the object setting, you can define how much number of records should be displayed, like 10, 5, 20. How much record should it display by default when the search result are returned? So this is the first option we can straight away go and choose. But we need to choose two options here, right? So let's see for other options what we can go for. So enable sidebar search autocomplete in the object setting. So this is again autocomplete is where you are helping them give some keywords, but it is not going to reduce the number of results. So again, no. And then specify the search field filter fields for the object's layout, right? And then you have specify the keywords and include them into the object search layout. So if you say if you are giving some keywords, so that's again help for the end user to choose those keywords, but it will not limit the number of results or how much records it results, because whatever you enter in the keywords, it will define or determine if that keyword exists on the record, it will return the results. Now see this option where specify the search filter fields. So if you specify that this keyword should be searched only in these two fields, so in let's say name field and the description field. So if the keyword matches into these two fields, then only the result will be written. But if this option is not selected, and if you have like 10 or 15 fields selected, so if this keyword exists even in the long description or a comment section, then also that record will come up. So you can, to make the search more granular or better, you can define what fields it should search into. So the keyword what you enter in the search should be searched only in those particular fields to return that result. So this also makes sense that it would reduce the number of records which are coming out, and this will turn out to be these two are the right answers. Okay. Question number 16. Support representative as UC wants the same technical engineer group to be associated with each new case. So now with each new case, we want same group of people to be associated. So what should system admin do to define this requirement? So uh, I seek a group, and then for every case, we need to have a group working on it. So we need to design a correct solution. So quickly in my mind, I get group as a queues. That's something we can use for assigning the right people. So uh, so again, I see various options which I can try to eliminate or get to the right answer. So workflow rule to add to the case team. So all the options, firstly in my mind I assume about queues initially when I was answering this question, but then all the options were for case team. So I tried to divert my mind into the case team and try to find what is possible solutions for a case team. So uh, to add to the case team using workflow rules. Workflow rules, can do only four actions: field update, email alert, outbound message, and creating a task. So there is nothing where it can add a team or case team. So workflow rule goes out of the queue. So this is not the right answer. Then I just go through case rule to associate a case team. So generally case assignment rules assigned to the queues. That's something in my mind. And then I say default case team on each account record. This is totally out of the question. And then the last option, which I was left with D, so I selected D as the option, and turned out this was a wrong answer. So um, default team on each user record is a wrong answer, and why I would also tell you. Again, assumptions which I took here, some of those assumptions which took me into the wrong direction. First, I was more in my mind queues from the beginning. So when I was reading this answer, I thought only about the queues, but I missed the part that case assignment rules can be used to associate a case team as well. So the right answer is this, because with the case assignment team, you can also assign, with the assignment rule, you can also assign it to a case team. So it assigns to a queue to which we'll be working on, Plus you can also assign a case team. So this is something I was missing. I just overthink it. I was thinking that it will only assign the queues, and I missed this part, that it will not assign the case team, and I didn't selected this answer, which went out wrong. So you should not assume. Again, you should have the knowledge. Sometime you don't have it, sometime I would have read it very long back, I missed about it. And then also the reason I inclined toward this answer was because for account teams you can do this kind of thing. Case team you can't do this, but for account teams you can define a default account team on the user record. So on the user record, you can create a default account team, which is possible. And then whenever you create account record, and you have the option to add the default team on the account record, which you have defined on the user setting. So that is possible on the uh, account team that is there on the user record. So somewhere that was in my back of mind, and I just overthought that for case team also similar would be there, and I choose this answer. But turned out for case team, we don't have that kind of feature. It's only there for account team, can be associated with the user record, while case team can be assigned using assignment rules. So assignment rules will first assign it to a queue, and then the case team is just kind of additional people who should also get access to this record to help them. So this technical engineer group what we are talking is additional people. So the representative, support representative, will work on the queue. They would be part of a queue. So let's say L1 support, L2 support, these are the queues who would be working on this case. Plus there would be some technical engineer group people, so that's a fixed team which would be assigned to every case for helping them in case the L1 L2 representative are struggling to solve that particular problem. Okay, I hope this clarifies where you should not overthink. And again, knowledge is something which is very important. You should not assume any answer based on any other knowledge. So this, I assumed this answer based on the my knowledge of account team, and I thought case team would also be having similar pattern, that it would be assigned to the user record, but doesn't work that way. Okay, thanks. Next question. Recently, restructure of sales department. Ursa Major is having issues with records being omitted in the new opportunity report. So now we see records being omitted is the keyword, that from the report we are having some data missing, which people are not able to see. Now we need to troubleshoot and see what's the root cause for this particular problem. And the problem is data visibility. So now we need to understand what should have been problem, what should have been the problem. So again, it's troubleshooting. So, and we need to choose three options. So now you see there are five options and you need to choose three. So there are a lot of right answer in this. So if we are able to eliminate at least one or two, we would be very close to selecting all the right answers. So always go for scenarios where if there are three options and you have uh, four or five, then you should go for elimination. Where there are multiple answers, try to go for elimination, and then try to design the solution once you rule out the completely incorrect answers. Okay, so here I would completely go with elimination and try to eliminate the wrong answers. So first, have the owners of the record being frozen. So you are checking that if the owner is frozen or not. So if the record, if the owner is frozen, still the owners exist in the system. That's the very important part of Salesforce, that you cannot delete owners, or the users. You cannot delete the users. Why? Because they can own some record, and the data visibility and sharing and everything is driven by that user. So you are not allowed to delete users. That's the reason you are not allowed to delete, and only you can freeze them or deactivate them. Why? Because at the back end, Salesforce keeps the sharing and everything calculated based on those users who are the owner. So that's the how the platform is designed. So you freezing the user will never impact the visibility of records. So this is a completely eliminated. Now, second option, did the sales manager start from a copy or clone of the existing report? So now we're saying the manager copy or clone. So if he copies, it would result out something different. And if he clone, it would result out something different, something like that. So again, copying or cloning will not impact the visibility. Visibility is always controlled by the security model and how the records are being shared with you. So it reports doesn't control anything on the sharing. What and how the record or the data is controlled is from the security model. So this also goes wrong. So you see, now with this itself, I am there that I can choose these three answers very confidently that these are the three right answers for me. But let's again, for sake of looking into it, we can see what are the options we have. So do owner of all records have roles and territory assignment? So you see, roles and territory assignment, these are the two techniques for sharing records. So definitely these can impact the data visibility, and then also the right answers or not. Then also, do the record sales manager expect to see matching filter criteria, right? So filter criteria can be the one which can be used to determine what is the records which are coming in the report or not. If the filter criteria is not correct, some records will be missed and will be omitted from the report. So filter criteria is also the right option. Then the records are being shared with the sales manager or not. So again, sharing. So this is again straightforward keyword, you can see sharing with the sales manager. So if you're not sharing the data, you can't see it, right? And then yeah, filter criteria. So now we can easily see these three techniques will definitely, so two are based on sharing. So if the sharing are missing, data would be not there. And then if the filter criteria is incorrect, the data would be omitted based on the criteria. So we get the three correct answers, and that's it. Next question. um, what are the two reasons a user cannot be deactivated? We need to choose two options. So deactivation is prevented or blocked. So again, because there are multiple options, I would go for elimination and then try to use right option. So user of the owner of open opportunities. Okay, I don't know, maybe user is recipient of workflow email alerts. Sounds really good, right? Because workflow email alerts are something which would be going with that particular user. If he's a recipient, he might not get. Or then you have the custom community administrator. So if the user is the administrator of a community, so all the users who are newly created in that community, they would be assigned to him as a manager and those kind of things. So if he's deactivated, how will that work? And then the last one is user account is frozen again. So deactivation and frozen is kind of, close to each other. So when you can't deactivate, what you do is you freeze them. So you freeze them that they don't have access to the system, but the license is still there. And the those things which are preventing you to deactivate will not block you. So you can freeze the user even in the scenarios if it is having any of the access or this email alert, anything. And then you can freeze them. Once you clean it up, you assign it to other people in the support process, default support process user, all those things. Once you update, you can deactivate. So meanwhile, you find the other person to replace them, you keep them freeze. So this is again a completely wrong answer, which you would cancel out, because uh, that's the technique you do when you don't want to deactivate or you can't deactivate a user, so you freeze them. Then out of these three, if you have any time deactivated a user, on the screen, if you have tried it, you would see when you deactivate a user, it gives you a couple of options. Like it will ask you if you want to transfer all the open opportunities to other user, if you want to transfer the tasks, and those kind of things. So this is something, it gives you an option, Salesforce, to tackle it when you deactivate it. So this is something you can do it when you deactivate. So it will not prevent you from deactivation. It is kind of a feature Salesforce gives you to tackle when you do the deactivation. So this is also not a correct answer. It will never block you. So then we are left with these two options. If it is a recipient of a workflow email alerts, it will block. And also if it is a community administrator. So B and C is the right answer. Correct. Okay, so next question. Ursa Major is configuring the lead conversion process. So we are talking about lead conversion, and which two factors should UMS consider before setting up the process? And then there are two options to be selected. Again, two options. So we'll try to do some elimination and then find out the correct match. So some, again, lead conversion is a standard out of the box feature. You should know some features, some tools, and what are there in lead conversion. You can pick them. So again, if I read them quickly, so custom lead fields, so there is a keyword custom lead fields which is really catching me. So custom lead fields can be mapped to custom object fields. So custom object never come in picture in the lead conversion. So lead conversion is always all about account, contact, and opportunity. Custom objects cannot be brought up in the lead. So lead can never convert into custom objects. It will always convert into account, contact, and opportunity. So with this, I can definitely eliminate this answer. Custom lead fields can be mapped to custom object. So this goes away. Then let's see the other fields. So standard lead fields are automatically converted to account, contact, and opportunity. Yes, standard fields, they're already, because they exist there in all the platform for every user. So yes, Salesforce has done that work for you, so we can configure them. Custom lead fields, because anybody can create their own fields. They can be different, and what you can do is you can map them to existing or the new custom fields you create on the account, contact, and opportunity. So this is something available out of the box, you can do that. So right, so these two we can see uh, are the good options. And then if you read through last, roll up summary lead fields can be mapped to custom contact fields. I was not aware of this, but still I was able to eliminate this, and I knew that these two are the right answers, which I can see. So I chose these two answers, and it was right. But again, if you go through and read back in this lead conversion process, you will find out that roll up summary fields cannot be mapped, because roll up summaries can depend on the child objects, and it can vary and change the values whenever the child object changes. So that's why Salesforce doesn't allow uh, roll up summary fields to be mapped to any uh, fields on the account, contact, or opportunity. So roll up summary fields cannot be used in the mapping. So this you can read more as well. So that's the right answer here, A and B. What should the system admin check when user are unable to find a custom report type? So custom report type, this is the keyword, and is this something, again you need to find the right match. So again, if you have created a custom report type by itself, when you do it, you would know what are these options and which option generally comes when you create a report type. So first one is add a button for report type to the report builder. So there is no setting like that, add a button into the report type for the report builder. So there is no button like that. Then add the new report type to related objects. Again, you add the objects in the report type and not the report type to the objects. You define what objects are in the report type and that kind of thing. And then make sure the user profile is included in report type. There is no setting like this. You can never uh, add the profile or any permissions in the report type. Report type is generally available for everyone. So last point is deployed. So on when you create the report type, there are two checkboxes, radio buttons, in development and deployed. So there are two buttons, in development or deployed. By default, when you create a report type, it would be selected to in development. When you change this to deployed, it will start appearing in the report builder. So until the point you don't change that to uh, deployed, it will not appear into the report builder. So this has nothing to do with the deployment. It has to do with it appearing in the report builder or not. Yes, and definitely if it is not set to deployed, when you try to use chain set or any deployment tool and try to deploy this report type, it will fail, saying this cannot be deployed because you haven't checked that checkbox. So when you try to deploy this to production environment or any higher environment, it would give you error message as well. So but it doesn't comes in the report builder also if it is set to in development in that checkbox. So again, this comes with hands-on experience. If you know, you would know that this deployed is a checkbox radio button available when you create a report type. Okay, cool. uh, Next one is, are some major uses the validation rule fields. So again, simple, straightforward. We need to know what are the capabilities of validation rule, and we need to choose two fields which are there on validation rule. So if you know, you can choose it very quickly. So again, trying to find right answers or trying to do some elimination. So we see what all are there any such kind of fields on there. So error condition formula, yes, you create validation rule formula, you give error message also, right? Owner field. So do we have owner field? No, right? We don't have any owner field. What we have is like created by or modified by user on the uh, validation rule, that we can see who created this or modified it. Then active date, right? No, we don't have any active date. What we have is active or not. So we have a checkbox on validation rule which says if it is active or not. So instead of this, what we have is active. So what we are left with, these two options. So yes, we have error message and the error condition formula. So these are the two right answers for this question. Okay. Which two actions allow the system admin to limit chatter access during rollout to subset Salesforce users? So now we need to limit the chatter access. So now we need to know how we give access. So before we say limit, we should know how do we give the chatter access to the people, right? So again, we can eliminate some options. If you know, you can directly do matching. So this is also possible. So create an invitation email for subset of user, right? So again, invitation is something to go to a group or something, but it will not control or limit anything. It's just an email invitation, right? So you can send an email to anybody. If they have access, they would see it, they would access it. If they don't see it. So again, incorrect. So this is not a right answer. Now edit a profile to enable chatter. So enable chatter, right? This is the keyword, enable chatter. So we see enable chatter two places here. So if we enable chatter, if this is something, right? So this is the keyword. So this is a permission which gives access to chatter, right? So if you enable the chatter for that subset of user, so now for that subset of user, you have enable chatter, and here also you are enable chatter. Now what is the difference between these two options? One is using profile, one is using permission set, right? So subset can be a profile as well. So from a whole org, one profile you are enabling so they can see, and one permission set you are enabling, then they can see. So you, if you know how to enable chatter, this is a straightforward matching that if you give this enable chatter permission to people, they can see it. And the last one is add the subset of user to company wide chatter group. Again, you can add them to chatter group, but they can access only if they have access to the chatter. So this will not control or limit anything. It's something after you enable the chatter, what kind of groups they can be part of. They can be part of A, B, C, D, what all groups you have, and if you want to add them to them or not. So that's the next level thing. But first level is enable chatter. So this is the right answer for this question. Okay, moving next. Which feature URSA major use if they want their support agents who are skilled in a particular product line to own cases directly after customer log them from an automated channel, right? So now we see we want to give ownership of the cases directly. So we don't want to manually assign the cases to somebody. So automated channels are like web to case, email to case. So case got created automatically in the system. If somebody agent is creating manually, right, they can do it manually. They can assign them as a owner or they can assign to queue. But now what we are talking about is we need to automatic assignment. So again, uh, I was very not sure, so I try to do some elimination here. So we can straight away eliminate some options. So first one is escalation rule. This comes into my mind. Assignment is something for assignment, yeah, makes sense. Escalation is when you want to escalate to a next level. So when if it is not responding or something, you escalate it to next level. So you escalate that to higher authority or something, right? So you escalate it. Then also I saw a point where it was skilled. So you see there is a keyword skilled. So I was more inclined toward this word as a skilled in particular product line. So if somebody is very skilled on a particular line, so what I thought was field update. Again, field update will do nothing. Team routing. So if there is a skill based team who can be used for, so there is a feature in Salesforce called omni-channel skill based routing. So which we can use to do this. It's something came in my mind, and then I selected this answer, and turned out this was wrong, because what I did was here overthinking again. So again, I quickly uh, derived on this part skilled, and what I thought was the omni channel, which is a Salesforce feature which is used for skill based routing. So if when the cases are created, what omni channel does is it finds out the agent who matches that particular skills which are tagged on the case, and it will assign to those tagged agents one by one on their availability. So if the agent is available and he has the particular skills, it will assign to him. That is a valid feature in Salesforce, but it is called omni-channel skill-based routing. It's not called case team routing, right? So this word was incorrect, and but still in my mind, I chose this answer because skill based routing is something which can be used, but here the words are case team routing, and I overthinked it to be omni channel. But here we are not talking about omni channel. Omni channel is something which comes up when you are more on the service cloud consultant certification, and you would read more those things in detail. This is for an admin certification where we are just trying to focus on simple terms. So again, don't overthink, don't try to assume this as something else. So again, don't think this term case team routing as omni-channel skill based routing. This is something which was in my mind. I selected this answer. Whereas the right answer is assignment rules. So what you can do is assignment rules will assign to a queue. So one queue can be part of a skill. So basically you can say people who are technician. So technician queue is something you can assign to, right? Assignment rules are simple as that. So if the queue come, if the ticket comes up with a subject line or the product line technical, then you can assign it to a technical queue. If it comes as inquiry, you can assign to inquiry queue. They are skilled in that. So you can do skill based routing even without omni-channel. So assignment rules are the straightforward, simplest way to do that kind of routing, that you can assign the cases to a queue, and that queue can be tied to one particular skill. So one skill equals to one queue. If you have that kind of a model, you can use assignment rules. But when you have a very complex model, when there are multiple agents having multiple skills, so one agent can work on 5 or 6 skills, and then you need to also do availability based routing, that if the agent is available on the check which is available, and then assign to that particular agent, not to a queue. In the omni channel, what it does is it assign to a directly to a particular person who is available and is having the skills. So again, that can be a possible solution for this kind of approach in a higher or a complex environment where that kind of requirement is there. But again, if this was a omni channel skill based routing written in this option, definitely that would be the right answer. But it is not, because we are not currently focusing on the service cloud certification. We are just on the admin certification and trying to solve it simple with the assignment rules. Okay, is that clear? Okay, I'll move to next. Or some major customers are starting to request custom size solar panel, which are currently unavailable in the standard inventory. So now they need some custom size panel which are not in the inventory. Inventory is basically your product line, and management has decided to add custom sizing as an add-on item in Salesforce. So we need some new item or new thing in Salesforce for these custom sizing thing, and administrator needs to allow user to add this as a total opportunity sale. So now if you do this custom sizing, it should also impact the price. So on the sale, it should impact the price, and then you should have some feature to add these custom options, right? So how you can achieve this goal? So again, we are talking inventory, we are talking item. So something we can see or we can think of is we need some new product called custom sizing. So if we enable that custom sizing as a product, you can achieve that. So you need a product called custom sizing, and it should have some monetary value as well, right? It should have some price which if applied increase the total opportunity sale. So in the sale, it should count for that particular add-on item you are doing. So if the size, if you're modifying from xyz centimeter to something else for custom behavior, it adds up some price to you. So that's something you can do. So now let's see how we can design this whole solution. What we can see, what two words we talked about is product and price book, right? So we talked about it. And if we see for all these options, so this is asking for custom object and creating custom sizing. So you can create an object, let's say, why fine, we created object, but then how it will drive the sale, right? It would not impact the price. Now add custom sizing as a new product in an order. We are currently not going to the order, we are talking about opportunity. So again, this is out of the way, going to order level, which we are not currently considering, right? Then add a new field on the opportunity label as custom sizing, right? Yeah, you can add a field on the opportunity, say this is a different type of opportunity, it requires custom sizing, and you can give some dimension also. This is the dimension. Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely you can handle this requirement with this, but again, it will not add up the price. So price will not add. Now the last option is add this custom sizing as a new product, right? So if we add as a product, so this is something satisfies this first point, add on item, so new product, and in a price book. So now in the price book also, we define the price of this item. So you define that it will cost $20 or $30. So when you add that item into the opportunity, it will also impact the overall total opportunity sale. So the right answer is D, and you go for it. Okay. Next question. So which two levels of access should be set when sharing a document folder with user? So again, document folder sharing. So this is again very uh, something you should know. So it's again, you would know only by the knowledge. So if you know how or what are the different sharing things available for a document folder type, what are the different access basically you can give, it's straightforward, you would know. So read, write, create, uh, read, write, create, delete, read only, read, write. So only the options which are there is C and D, read only and read write. So this is something you give on the document folder. So if you on the folder, if you have read write, it means you can create documents inside it. And if you have read only, it means you can only access or read the folders or read the documents which are inside the folder. That's it. So you don't need the create and delete permission specifically given. So when you have that, you can access them and do that particular. It's kind of a manager permission. When you have read write, you can manage that folder basically, and if you have read only, you just have the read access. So these are the two right options available for document shelter folding. If you want to read more about this, it's just a very like small help article, 10 to 15 lines of it. Just read through it. I have just given a link for this. These are something kind of productivity and collaboration points. So there would be some topics around this, but if you just read through this help article, I think that should be more than enough for covering any questions which come from this. So it's just 5 or 10 minutes read. 26 question number, we are almost there at the end. Universal container wants to create a field to store credit card numbers. So now we are talking about credit card numbers. Make sure it is protected. So information should be protected and enhance security for this field, right? So we need to protect the information for a specific field, uh, which is in the question, which is storing the credit card, right? So now how we can do it? So first one, create encrypted text field, right? So yeah, makes sense, right? We can encrypt the data. Encryption brings more security. And then field level security. This is also for security. We can create restrict the visibility. So if somebody can see or not see, if they can see, can they edit or not edit? So we can control all this. So we can see that these two keywords already match with the question. Then we see configuring different page layout for user, right? So you can configure different page layout for user, so on the user can see them or not see them. Makes sense, but this is generic. It's not specific for a field. Again, it's for overall for the page, how many fields are there, how many fields you make them visible, those kind of things. But still, these fields which you don't expose on the UI can be accessed via data loader or the API. So at the backend, these data which you make or restrict on the page layout, still accessible via API. So you cannot be always 100% sure that the user can't access the data which is not shown on the page layout. They can access it, right? And then come last is the record type. So record type is again to control these page layouts. Yeah, so makes sense, but again, this is not specific for a field, not specific for a, so these are not these two options are not specific to a field, and they're just a generic settings which are there in Salesforce. But these two are the more specific field level security which we can define. So these are the two right answer for this question. Okay, right, A and B. So A and B is the right answer. Moving next, Ursa Major Solar placed a time dependent action in the workflow queue when the record was created. What are the two situations that will cause this action to be removed from the queue? I think this kind of a question will be definitely there. That's my guess. Because this is very common and very important question. I think on this, in the last session which we did on the process automation, we talked about also, we saw in detail how does this time dependent queue works and how things get removed from the queue, how they come in the queue, and those kind of things. So this is the very straight question. Again, we need to try to do some elimination. We can find the right match if you know. So again, two options. So we'll try to eliminate something. So this is record triggered workflow rule. Again, workflow rule, criteria, rule criteria. So all these are related to workflow rules. Three options. Last option we can see is validation rule is triggered for the record. So validation rule is something you can directly rule out, right? Validation rule has nothing to do with the workflow rule and the queues which are there in place, right? If you are matching the rule, it is meeting the criteria in the workflow rule, it will go, right? So let's see now the options. If another record triggers the same workflow rule, so now from our knowledge we know that every record has an independent item in the queue. So workflow rule is one, but for a record it will create a item in the queue. So for every record it will create a queue. So one record cannot impact another record. They are independent and they work independently. So this is not a right answer in that way. Then we are left with these two options. Let's go through them. If the action is deleted from the queue, right? So if you go in the queue itself and manually delete it, definitely it will be removed, right? And if the record no longer matches the rule criteria, again, that's also right. So if the criteria is dissatisfied before that action is to be executed, yes, it will be removed from the queue. So these two are the right answer. So B and C is the right answer for this question. Okay, 28th, sales operation team notice an increase in opportunity without products. So there is opportunities getting created without adding the products. How can we handle that? So what options we have? Set the OWD for price book to use products to read only. uh, no, right? So we, okay, let's highlight the keyword. So opportunity without product, and we need to make some configuration changes to give them remember to add. So now we want to remind the users to add it, right? So we need to do the again correct matching. We need to know that how to remember, how to tell the user that they need to add the products, right? So this is something, again, for this question what I did was, again, there was answer in the question itself. So you need to find a way to remember, tell the user that you need to add the products, right? So you need some notification, you need to send some nudge or alert to them, right? So if we try to look for that kind of thing, you can definitely see that in the option number D, there is a keyword called prompt the users. So you can prompt the users by something that they get a nudge. So this is something you can relate from sometime in the question also. In the question itself, there would be answer. But again, if we go through read everything, so OWD of the price book and the products. So OWD would have nothing to do with adding the adding the products and price book. It's something user should know and should do if they have access to. Yes, definitely if they don't have access, they can't do. That's a different story altogether. But if they have access and they are not adding, that's something they are not doing it or missing it. Then you create a workflow rule to add default products. um, right, on the workflow rule you cannot do anything on the child object. Definitely that's a no. Even if you were able to do, this is automation. We don't want to do automation, we want to remind the people to do it. So no. And then create related list to enable the user to view the products. Again, related list is there, we can add it so they can see it that it is missing. But again, to add is something user should do. So what we can do is enable the opportunity setting to prompt user. So there's a setting on the opportunity setting, if you go, called prompt user to add opportunity. So whenever we enable this checkbox, when the opportunity is saved, it will give a prompt on the screen, just to remember to add the products to the opportunity, something like that. User can close it and go back also. Maybe user don't want to add even with the prompt, so you can't control that. That's something user has to take a decision and work on, so that's fine. So the right answer is D. Okay. So again, the other answer is wrong because we don't want to do automation. User should do it, so we can automate it. That's not in the question ask. Um, Next question. Universal Container has sales team focus on renewals. They will use many of the same opportunity fields as other teams, but different stage values, right? So renewals is a different type of opportunity, right? And then they are using the same fields. So different type of opportunity. Again, in my mind, record types, different fields, and different stage values, right? So now how to implement this? So I think similar question came before also with the case. Now this is with the opportunity. So we need record types to control all these things. Now in this we only need to select one answer. There we had three answers, so we selected record type, page layout, and support process, right? So we selected three answer there. So always remember, in the previous questions you have answered, there would be answer to the question which is upcoming, or sometime you would see the answer of a question in the previous question somewhere. So that will also help you. So try to remember, if you don't have any answer at this moment, go forward, you would maybe find answer in the other upcoming question already. So what should administrator do? Now again, first option, page layout to include the correct field. Select the stage values in the sales process, user profile, and then select field pick list in the record types. Record types is the keyword, right? I can directly rely on something. Record type is something I want to do, which we also see. But then we see stage field pick list. So on the opportunity, there is a stage field pick list, but you cannot directly control it in the record type. That's something you should know, because for opportunity case and some of the object, you have business processes. So what we have is sales process. Sales process is something for opportunity, and there you can define the stage values in the process, and then that sales process should be assigned to a record type also. So record type is right. Record type is the correct answer in there. But with record type, you can't use the stage field pick list directly. So you need to use the stage selected or the pick list values via a sales process, which is business process. So you should know when record type can directly access the pick list values. So for all the custom object, wherever there is no business process, you can define the pick list values in the record type directly and use the record type. That works fine. But for some of the object where there is business process involved, you need to select the business process and then go with the record type. So that's why the right answer for this is B. And what are those business processes? I'll quickly highlight. So for lead, the business process is called lead process. So you can create a lead process and define the pick list values for lead status. The different stages of the lead you can define in the lead process. Okay. Then for opportunity, it is called sales process. And then for case, we saw in the previous question as well, it is called support process. Solution, it is called solution process. So I think for solution and lead, it's just same to the name, lead process, solution process. But for case and opportunity, it's a little bit tricky. It's called sales process and support process. Just remember these four business processes which are there in Salesforce, and they are used to control the pick list value of status or stage. So stage pick list value can be controlled by these four different business process for these four objects. Other than that, you can directly put the pick list value in the record type. So you can control the pick list values in the record type. Option number D works fine for all of them. Okay. Now, last question, question number 30. um, Are some major accounts utilize accounts in sales process. However, not all users have access to them. New user require read access to account. Additionally, for new user require edit access. So some user need again keywords. Not all have this, and some read access to account, and other requires edit access to the account. So again, we can design the solution. We need to find the correct design and then configure this. So I'm trying to some eliminate some options here. So I'm seeing some sharing rule which can be used. Then we have permission set to grant the access, and then but I can also see that modify the standard user profile. So again, straight no, you can never modify permissions on the standard profile. So standard profile can never be modified. You can only give access or modify the access on the custom profiles. Standard profiles will be set to what they are. You can't change them. Then you see configure a profile to grant account edit access and permission set to restrict the access, right? So permission set always opens up the access. They never restrict the access. So this also makes this a wrong answer, and we don't go for it. And then so what we are left with, profile to grant view access and permission set to grant edit access. Makes some sense. Yeah, we can give profile view access, edit access, and then here I see sharing rule for view access and another sharing rule for edit access. So this one is talking more about record level access. This is talking more about object level access. So I went ahead and chose this option, which is the record level access, right? So A is the, I chose this answer, and eventually what happened, I was wrong. So I got this answer as wrong. And then I understand, let's understand why this was wrong and why we should go for this option. Again, uh, don't assume anything. So some assumptions are there in our mind which we forget sometime when we are answering these kind of questions. These are some tricky questions. So uh, because we are talking about record access, right? So this sharing rule is something which controls record access. So whenever we are going for record access on the sharing rule, you need some criteria, right? So with, if the criteria is this, they should get this access. If the owner is this, they should get this access. But what here question is asking is new user require read access and for new user required edit access. So I was like in very hurry to finish this last question. I didn't read all this in detail. I just see, okay, read access, edit access, okay, sharing rule giving view access, edit access, I went for it. But I missed the part that there is no criteria or there is no information provided to which I can use, because both the answers were right. As we, when we were selecting this also, we felt both the answers are right because this is also doing the same thing. A profile also can be used to drive the access permissions on the object level, and based on that the data level things will be driven. So again, always from the that perspective also, when you're giving any this exam, profile is always the most important. It's on the topmost level of the permissions, right? Then comes the OWD and the sharing. So if it's, if you look in that point also, this option goes little below the hierarchy of selection of the right answer. So we should always go for the first and the top level configuration, which is profile. So profile should be selected, view access, and the permission set for the new people for the edit access. So this makes this a right answer. Okay, is this clear? Right. Security questions are sometimes very tricky if you don't give proper attention. If you try to solve them very quickly, you would miss those very small, minute things. See, I also missed it. So definitely anybody can miss it if you are in hurry. So you should give ample time to these kind of big questions. So you don't try to rush them. So again, I tried to rush it and solve this in maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, all these questions. So that was, again, I was trying to take screenshot. My focus was to take screenshot and quickly answer them. And I got these some questions as wrong. So now again I want to talk about one more thing. So permission set, I said, to restrict the access, never, you can only open up the access and never restrict. But there are something called muting permissions. Just for a knowledge, you can create a permission set and give some permissions which you can restrict or mute, but that works with the permission set group. So you create a permission set group, and inside that you define a muting permission, which is, in the group these permissions will be muted or restricted. So that kind of feature is also available. But definitely here the question, or in the administrative exam, we are never trying to look for that kind of detail or going in that thing. So you never overthink of those kind of things. Also, this could be, I was, when I was giving this answer, I thought in back of my mind, so that's why I wanted to put it here. But don't put that thought, that muting permissions or something that level, when you are doing admin certification directly. But if you find something, specifically the word muting permission somewhere, yes, they exist and they are not fake answer. Okay. Okay, just one bonus question. When I tried to finish it, I attempted one more question. It was for process automation. I really like this question. I wanted to just present this one more bonus question to everyone, because it's from that part where all the answers are right. So in this question, Universal Container has asked the administrator to automatically set some fields when lead is created. So when lead is created, you want to pre-fill or set some um, fields into it, and you see all the answers are right. So you can use process builder that launches a flow, and then with the flow you can do this. You can use record trigger flow before save. You can create workflow rules to do the field update. Yes, you can create screen flows, and you can default the field values in the screen flow. Yes, that's also works fine. So all they are there. But see, the question is asking the best way. So sometimes question itself is asking, but even if the question is not asking, you need to choose the best way whenever choosing the solution. So always go for the best solution and choose that. So the best solution here is a record triggered flow that runs before save. So now we in Salesforce we have record triggered flows. So they get invoked whenever a DML happen. DML is the, whenever you modify a record, data manipulation language, that's called DML. When you update, create, insert, so you can trigger the flows on DML of a record. And in the before save part, you can update any field values, and that would get committed to the database. So this can be, this is the best approach. Now why these are not the best approach, let's see them. This is a poor design, because if you say one workflow rule per field, you would end up creating lot of fields, a lot of workflow rules for every field you want to update. So this is a poor design, right? You can do with screen flows, but it will require a lot of high efforts. You need to design the UI, you need to put all the fields other than the ones you are setting default as well, which user will enter. So you need to design the whole UI and everything. Then use a process builder that launches a flow. It was an option until the record triggered flows were in picture. So we had only this option because process builders were triggered when the DML happened, and then we can call a flow to do this kind of some logic implementation. So this is a suboptimal approach. It's not very optimal, but we can definitely go for this if this kind of solution was not available. But yes, we have this. This is the optimal and the current solution to be used. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Some exam tips. So again, as I say always, try to, for the multiple answers, choose the right combination. Pick those options which makes overall a sense together, and try to use the review flag very genuinely. Put them whenever. you are in a hurry, you don't want to answer that in a hurry, put it in the review flag, go later and then revise it and see it when you have more time, plenty of time, give it ample time, right? And then read all the details of the question and answer. This is very, very important. You should always read each and every word in the question and answer, not just question, all the answer, every word, and try to see what does it make sense, what is question trying to ask you, what is the mind frame of the examiner, why this question has come in this examination, what is they trying to understand from you, and then try to answer. Don't overthink any option, don't put any assumptions which you have in your mind in the answer, that like how you saw that omni-channel thing, that was an assumption in my mind which I assumed that case team routing is equivalent of omni-channel routing in my mind. So in my mind I have assumed that answer to be omni-channel routing, right? But it was not, it was case team routing. How can I assume that level of detail in my mind and answer a question? So never assume anything in your mind. Whatever is written, that's the truth, and go with that, and then try to select the right answer. If something is wrong in the answer, some words are missing, then it's they're genuinely missing. Nobody has forgotten or by mistake written that answer. It's very, very specifically written in a way to test you. Okay, so nobody is like a miss, or sometime they have maybe by mistake they would have not written this word, I should assume and then answer this as a question. Don't do that way. And then you have 95 seconds per question, but you would be able to answer some questions, let's say in 20 seconds or 30 seconds. So you have a lot of time left out for some big questions, and definitely you can give them 120 seconds or something like easily you can give some questions 2 minutes, 3 minutes if you want, because some questions you would crack them in 20, 30 seconds itself. You would not need that big time because they are easy to read, less words, so you can crack them easily. So try to give the ample time and don't rush. And then last, hands-on practice, again very important. So the knowledge is key. You need to have all the knowledge in the system. You do some hands-on, so you know that this is how the screen looks like. It's like the record type selection screen. So if you have never done it, you don't know what record type selection screen is, then you cannot answer that question. So you should know some kind of things which are not somewhere in the setup or in the trailhead. Those are just there because they exist, and when you do hands-on you would see them. Okay. Now some additional information. You need to register on the web assessor for giving your certification exam. Go to that web assessor link. Then you have trail mixes to study and prepare for it. I have given all the curated trail mix which I have created in this blog. You can read that blog, and also this blog contains all these links. So it has a link to the chatter, trailhead live videos. It has link to register for this webinar. This is a 5-hour webinar which happens for most of the certifications, generally the starting ones. So you can register for that exam and it will give you a good overview of overall in 5 hour. And then you can do these practice tests which I gave the link in the beginning in the first slide. And then you can join the chatter groups, help from the Tailwizard community. Just everyone is helpful, everyone will help you. And then lastly but not least, you have some videos which we did: process automation, data management, security. Go check them on the YouTube and study them. If you are watching this on YouTube, please post your questions as comments and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible.
Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified with all the upcoming videos and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you.